Devonte Adams, Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. 3 Hall of Famers combining forces to create the NFL's easiest touchdowns, schemed up in a way we have never really ever seen before. Nobody saw Devonte leading the league with 14 touchdowns at age 32, especially in his first season with the Rams. But what if I told you he only scored just 3 times in his first 6 weeks, but then 11 in his last 6, and 8 of those came from less than 5 yards out? He's always been known for his incredible release package. It's the best part of his game, where he consistently wins instantaneously off the line of scrimmage, which sets up the entire rest of the route. He has 1,000 different releases we'll dive deeper on later in the episode. Hop, split releases, diamond releases, singles, and doubles. But the primary reason he is so successful is his ability to immediately get cornerbacks out of phase. Corners play man coverage 2 different ways every single play. You are either in phase, where you're in good position in coverage so you're comfortable enough to turn your head to try and intercept the ball, or you're out of phase, where you lose early in the down so you're playing catch up, you can't turn your head because you'd lose the receiver completely, so you have to wait till he catches it, then knock the ball out of his hands. This is Devonte's superpower. Corners are always out of phase against him because of how good his releases are at the beginning of the play. This is critical for scoring all these quick 1 and 2 yard touchdowns. On these he has to win immediately, which is what he does best, and which is why it keeps working. Before we dive into how he sets corners up throughout the game, the play design that keeps creating these matchups, and what defenses do to try and stop him, I want to thank this week's sponsor, SeatGeek. With the NFL season in full swing, the NBA season 2, college football playoffs coming, SeatGeek is my favorite place to go for buying tickets. I'm myself looking ahead to the playoffs and trying to go to a game. Bears Nation is crazy around here. A home playoff game would tear the roof off Soldier Field. Literally, they're gonna demolish it at some point soon. And without a doubt, if I'm going to that game, I'm using SeatGeek. I always use them because of their deals on each seat and how easy it is to use with their ratings. A green dot is a good deal, a red dot is poo. So for the Bears playoff game, I'll wait to the last minute for the best price, lock in a green dot deal, and I'm out. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. The app is crazy easy to use, and what's even better, if you use my code Rollins10, you get 10% off your next order on SeatGeek. That's code Rollins10 to get 10% off your order. Devonte's release package is legendary. We've covered his extremely unique 1-of-1 hop split release on this channel before, where he does something every coach ever would tell you to never do. You're never supposed to hop into the air with both feet off the ground, because if Greg Newsome jams him with his feet in the air, mere mortals can never recover from that. They'd be completely thrown off balance, they'd be screwed. But Devonte is so good at it, you can see later in the game where Newsome is pressed on him and now says, okay, I gotta try and press him. Look how Devonte starts to go in the air, gets Newsome hands, even though he's clearly not expecting them. Then look at the quick punch, like a boxer to the kidneys, removes Newsome, throws him out of the club, gets held, doesn't matter, and scores a touchdown. So now we go back to earlier in the game for our first example, and look at Newsome. He should be jamming Devonte, but he knows, and the goal line play we just saw was more of a last-ditch effort, that nobody effectively presses Devonte, so he has to try and figure out where he's going with this release. When you think of a hop, you'd imagine somebody moving straight up and down, but look how much Devonte moves forward to attack Newsome's space. This is not on accident, he's moving towards Newsome to force him to move and push him back. Devonte knows Newsome isn't going to press him. If he does, he'd get cooked. And cause Devonte can hop like this, he can really go anywhere, inside, outside, whatever. He gives him a hop double release, where he uses an inside move, outside move, 1, 2, double, then goes back inside. This is to set up Newsome for later when he's on the goal line. All of Jacksonville's defensive backs have studied Devonte's releases, so even when he goes up against Jordan Lewis, not Newsome, Lewis knows not to press him. Devonte hits him with the same hop release and looks like he's going to use his double move, but watch his outside foot. He almost puts it down like he's going to drive off of it and go inside, but never does. Lewis actually does a pretty good job of not being fooled, but because Devonte is so quick off the line, look how Lewis is out of phase, so he can't turn his head. Devonte gives him this little veteran shove just to create that much space, devastating to create even a little more space when the corner's out of phase on the goal line, and boom, touchdown. Then later in the game against Monteric Brown, Dav uses a nearly identical move against him to win on the fade outside again, and this play with Stafford to Devonte one-on-one is nearly unstoppable. What's even crazier about this concept too is it's actually designed as a run. This is an RPO. You can see the left side of the Rams line firing off to block, so is Jordan Whittington pulling across the line to kick out the end man on the line of scrimmage. And sometimes they'll use their right side to run block, sometimes they'll use it to pass block since it's backside of the run anyway. The Rams always motion a slot receiver or tight end away from Adams to kick out this man over here, which is A, to help the run if they do hand it off, but B, also to make sure defenses aren't doubling Devonte. When they motion across, if the defender is in fact doubling him, Stafford would see it, so he'd likely hand it off, because this would also leave one less guy to fit into the box to defend against just a 1-yard power run up the middle. Sometimes the Rams position Devonte in a plus split, meaning outside the numbers. This way he's especially far away when they're on the opposite hash, and this makes it harder on the Saints because they'd have to more obviously declare whether or not they're doubling him. Here's the motion to make sure Jonas Sanker isn't doubling the inside slant, and look at the move Dav puts on Alontae Taylor. A hard single outside to give Taylor everything he's got in that direction. Taylor's seen the reel of plays of Devonte torching dudes outside on the fade. Remember, he knows he can't press either. He doesn't even get a finger on him, and Devonte scores again. Even when defenses do everything they can to put two bodies on him, Devonte and Stafford are just too good. Here we have a little less space since Devonte is the same plus split, but now we're on the near hash. And look at how even though the Rams motion Davis Allen, watch how Justin Reed doesn't run with him. So now Stafford and Devonte know one thing, they aren't going to win in the slant, it has to be the fade. Watch how Stafford still trusts him to win. Now instead of the hard single against Taylor, Devonte gives him the double, the move he set up before. Taylor should be tighter and outside of Devonte since he knows he has help over the top. But this is how good Devonte is. We are watching a Hall of Famer in real time. Even when defenses disguise a double, it still doesn't matter. The motion is designed to show Stafford whether or not the defense is sending that extra help to Devonte. But from studying film, Tampa Bay knows this, has Jacob Parrish run with Allen. But Antoine Winfield creeps over the top, Zion McCollum is way outside leverage, like Taylor should have been. But still, look at the head move, the shift in weight, the attention to detail all forces McCollum to jump inside. This is where your help is. But he just cannot help himself. The move is that good. He's completely out of phase, and Stafford lays it in there absolutely perfect. My favorite touchdown of the year came against the Panthers this past week, because it didn't just take the usual great release, great throw and catch. This highlights Stafford's pre-snap ability too. With a whole season's worth of tape, the Panthers try and set a trap for Stafford. That is never gonna work. They have their cornerback Mike Jackson way off in coverage with outside leverage. And they have their linebacker Nick Scorton on the ball. They also have the rest of their linebackers bossed over, meaning they're all to the strong side of the formation, creating a nice hole for Stafford to throw into. Carolina wants him to think the slant is wide open, but watch what happens. Stafford knows this, sees it, so he uses his eyes to fake like he's throwing the fade so Scorton jumps outside, then no look throws the slant for Devonte, and it's once again the easiest touchdown ever. It was fun to see the Panthers obviously studying the film that we saw today and try and adjust with a new coverage wrinkle, but clearly it didn't work. It'll be fascinating to see if in just the next several weeks leading up to the playoffs, defenses find an answer to this problem. When you line up inside the 5 and see this formation, what do? You know it's coming, but besides giving Devonte the Megatron treatment, what do you actually do? Press doesn't work, double coverage doesn't work. Trying to fool these guys obviously doesn't work. These are some of the easiest touchdowns I have ever seen. When you have future Hall of Famers at quarterback, receiver, and head coach, anything is possible. McVay has innovated a new wrinkle to create easy matchups for Devonte, to where Stafford can throw him easy touchdowns. It's just simply unfair. The Rams are currently the Super Bowl favorites and have everything going their way. And when you get down inside the low red zone and see Davante Adams out there on an island, you know what's coming. You just can't stop it.